So my name is Marcelo Alvarez, and I own a franchise here in the area in Downers Grove. The name of the franchise is the Entrepreneur Source. What I do is I help my clients explore the idea of starting their own business. I get to know the client, I get to know what their goals are, what it is they want a business to help them achieve. And with that information, I then present them different business options and help them explore those options so they can figure out whether business ownership is right for them. Something I've been doing for the last 4 years. Before that, spent 20 years in corporate America. You name it, I did it. Worked for Pepsi, I worked for Miller Brewing Company, worked for Capital One, and everything from finance to marketing to business development to general management. And reached a point in my career where I was tired of working for other people, so I decided to start my own business. And now what I do is help people who are in the same position and they want to pursue the dream of business ownership. Yeah, so what's interesting is before buying the franchise or investing in the franchise of Entrepreneur Source, I was a client of the Entrepreneur Source. I was living in Richmond, Virginia, like I said, tired of the corporate rat race, and reached out to somebody who does the same thing that I do in Richmond, and he took me through the same process that I take my clients through. Really helped me think about what was important to me, what I wanted to do, what type of business I wanted to have, what type of people I wanted to work with, and as a result, helped me look at 4 different franchise options and decided that Entrepreneur Source is what I wanted to invest in, basically because I love to help people, and I like the fact that I was going to be working with people like myself, working with other professionals, help them explore their options, and really a consultative approach. It's all about getting to know the person and helping them look at different options. In terms of the transition, it was your typical business startup. So it was leaving behind corporate America and everything, the good and the bad that comes with it, and starting a business 4 years ago, summer of 2006, and going out there and creating awareness, letting people know that I did what I did. Most people, when I tell them what I do, they're like, gee, I never knew somebody did that. So it was getting to know folks, it was networking, it was creating new connections, looking for places where I could come across people who needed my services. And I had the benefit of leveraging the system that the franchise provided. So I wasn't starting everything from scratch, but rather I was following the systems and the structure that were provided by the franchisor. But it was a lot of hard work, still is, but very satisfying work, given the fact that when I have a client start a business, I can think back to first conversation I had with him or her where they just knew they wanted to be in charge of their future, but didn't know what they wanted to do.
Interesting.
To me, the most critical piece to being a successful entrepreneur is to have perseverance, to be self-motivated, to basically do what you need to do and do it over and over and over and over again, not to be afraid of trying and failing. Because whether it's a franchise, whether it's a startup, there's a lot of perseverance that's required. You're going to knock on a lot of doors, and initially you're going to be told no a lot more than you're going to be told yes. So I'm going to say the first foundation that needs to be there is the ability to be self-motivated. Nobody's going to tell you what you need to do. Nobody's going to wake you up in the morning and say, you've got to go make the sales calls. You've got to be able to do that on your own. Equally important is the ability to go out and build relationships. Not necessarily selling, but building relationships, because ultimately people like to buy from people they know and they trust. So you want to get to the point where you can build those relationships with whoever your clients are. If you're teaching kids how to draw, your clients are going to be the moms and dads of the kids whose classes you're teaching. If you're washing windows, your clients are going to be the businesses that need their windows to be washed. So it's about building those relationships with your potential clients, with people who can refer business to you, and doing that over and over and over again, back to that perseverance. To me, it's the foundation, right? So I'm a big fan of, you need to be able to communicate, right? And sometimes you're communicating, you're talking to people, but other times you're writing, right? And having a well-written email or a well-written newsletter or a well-written flyer are critical. And what's that based on? It's based on having good language skills. It's based on being able to write in a clear manner that you're going to convince people to respond to the email or respond to the flyer. Same thing, something as basic as just basic math skills, right? You need to be able to understand the core of your business. So if you sell something for $20 and it costs you 16 to produce it, you need to figure out how many of those you need to sell to make the profits. So the basics are critical, and it's a foundation on which you build everything else. Whether, like I said, whether it's communicating, whether it's doing the math requirements, it's all what you need to be able to do in order to figure out how your business is doing, and more importantly, how to bring clients in and figure out if they're profitable clients or not.
Gotcha.
Going out there and finding clients. So it could be going to a networking meeting and meeting other people with whom you're building relationships so that they can send referrals your way. You're also probably going to have a few sales calls. Go call on people, either potential clients or people, again, who could refer clients to you. And then it's going to be a matter of following up on work that's being done. So a client that just opened up down the street here in Batavia, his business is providing window cleaning services to businesses in the area. So initially, what is he doing? He's knocking on a lot of doors and introducing himself, telling people why his business is different, why the service that he's providing is a better service than what they currently have. And with that, he's building relationships. He's probably not going to get a lot of sales on the first call, but when they see him, time and time again, those sales are going to start happening. Let's fast forward and assume that he's got a few sales. Now his time is going to be split between calling on accounts, but also following up and saying, hey, my guys were here yesterday. Did they deliver, good service? Is there anything we could have done differently? So it's probably going to be a combination of sales and business development. I'm going to say about 60% of the time, and then the other 30 to 40% of the time is going to be fulfillment, following up on clients, following up on service that has been delivered. And then there's always that administrative stuff that none of us like to do, but that's equally important. So it's following up and sending the invoices out. It's making sure people are paying. It's making sure that the supplies are stocked. And that's all stuff that needs to be done. And when it's your business, nobody else is doing it. So you need to make sure that either you're doing it or you have somebody who's working for you who's taking care of all those things. The big plus to me is the fact that you're working for yourself, so that it's yours. And when you work really, really hard and you get good results, those results are for you. I've had clients say to me, hey, Marcel, you know what? I'm tired of working really, really hard and making money for other people. I want to work equally hard and have that money come back to me. So that's one plus, that direct relationship between what you do and the output that you get. Mm-hmm. Also, the fact that you get to choose what you work on. Nobody's telling you to go sit in a meeting to plan a meeting. Nobody's telling you what to do or how to do it. So I tell folks I'm probably working harder now than I worked when I was in corporate America, but I'm doing things that I believe are going to lead to my business being successful. I'm not working on somebody else's agenda, I'm working on my own agenda. And I love that control. I also love the fact that I can set my schedule based on what's important to me. So if my kids have a game or a school activity and I need to be there, I'll schedule so that I can be there. I don't miss too many games or school activities. Whereas when I was working for somebody else, if they said, hey, we need to stay here and work all night because this presentation's due, it didn't matter that it was the championship game for my son's baseball team. That didn't matter. Now it does. So.